write their name on there as you know them, and then put your name in there. What's the first letter?
Bro's signing pictures of his boys, identifying them to the feds. Day 60 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial was hectic. The defense lawyers do a great job at separating YSL as a gang from the crimes Walter DK Murphy committed in 2015. DK says Thug never instructed him to commit a crime. Finally, we see a video of DK snitching on his boys, identifying pictures of them. I feel like the defense lawyers do really well with him today. You'll see what I mean. They cook a lot. So join the channel membership right now. It's only 10 cents per day. I really appreciate the support. Hit subscribe. Here we go. First look at Thug right here. Nice suit and tie on day 60. Looking clean, looking professional. Here's surveillance footage of the attempted murder that DK was a part of in 2015, I think.
Wearing the black hoodie?
Yes, I think it's a jacket, but yeah.
At this time, even though we can't see, are you armed with an assault rifle?
Yes.
Standing by the door, who is that?
They're not.
That's Nard, and is he standing by the front door? Do you see on the bottom left, him in the doorway?
Yes.
And now the gentleman with the red shirt is exiting the store, correct?
Yes.
These boys just casually walking around with rifles right now in this parking lot for like 3 minutes. I know it's nighttime.
Went down Jonesboro Road, towards the cemetery,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you all went down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
He remembers a lot of this situation, but didn't remember talking around the same time to the police.
Nard was driving.
Yes.
Fatty was in the back.
Yes.
Nard had a assault rifle,
Yes.
and when he shot, do you remember how many shots he fired?
I can't remember. A couple. More than one.
More than one? Did you personally, I'm asking what you knew, did you know if anyone was shot or not?
No.
You said you know Jeffrey Williams. Was Jeffrey Williams at that gas station that night?
No.
These other gentlemen in this courtroom, look at their faces. Were any of them at the gas station that night?
No.
Okay. On the ride to the gas station, phone calls being made. Were there any communications involving Shannon Stillwell that night?
No.
Max charged is separating all the defendants in the courtroom from this certain incident. This incident's being brought up because it was DK's incident. Somehow they were able to wrap that into YSL.
Communications involving Jeffrey Williams that night?
No.
Do you know of any communications involving any of these other gentlemen that night?
No.
Was Shannon Stillwell at that house?
No.
How about Jeffrey Williams? Was he at the house?
No.
Any of these other gentlemen, look at their faces. Were any of them at the house that night?
No.
You've been to Rice Street before, correct?
Yes.
We're talking about the Fulton County Jail, correct?
Yes.
And how big is that cell?
Small.
It's small, okay? And what is in that cell?
A toilet and a sink, and you sleep in the day area, like under the stairs or by the window.
It's a mat that's laid on the floor, correct?
Yes.
And people sleep on these mats on the floor
Yes.
in a common area.
I think Max Charlotte is just explaining how bad Rice Street Jail is. Show the jury motive on why DK would want to snitch and get out of there. Anything to get out of jail.
What do you think about the food at Rice Street?
That ain't no food. There's not food.
Is Rice Street worse than prison?
Yes.
Give me an example of what the higher quality of food would be.
I was waiting for the irrelevance objection from Ms. Hilton right there. She finally did it.
Does that allegation ever mention YSL? Does it say YSL anywhere in that allegation?
No.
This is a good route for him to go. Separating this previous incident from YSL.
Does that allegation ever say that the crime committed on April 12, 2015 was done in furtherance of YSL?
No.
You had been arrested for this RICO charge for the same incident that you had already done 7 years for.
Yes, I thought it was double jeopardy.
And you wanted to go back home.
Yes.
Oh, he thought it was double jeopardy, like he was getting arrested again in 2022 for this RICO trial for an incident he already served 7 years for, from 2015 to 2021 or whatever.
Anywhere in that acknowledgement, number 14, does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of YSL?
No.
Does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of Shannon Stillwell?
No.
Max Shark kind of snapping here. This is good for the jury to hear this.
It was selfish for you to even put yourself in a position that Mr. Montgomery could be hurt and for his head to get hit by a bullet. That was selfish.
Yes.
It was selfish against your children, to put yourself in a position that you would be taken away from their lives.
Yes.
That was selfish of you, wasn't it?
It was.
This was an isolated incident committed by men who were high, out of their minds, correct?
Yes.
Committed by men with assault rifles, correct?
Yes.
That crime did not involve anyone back here, did it?
No.
That crime did not further any interest of YSL, did it?
No.
And none of these gentlemen had anything to do with it. Isn't that correct? I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Judge was over. He said, move on. We get it. God forbid a defense lawyer has a good moment in this trial. The judge says, move on. I mean, I know he's trying to speed the trial up, but
How about a comfort break? Let's go ahead and take 10 minutes and let's see where we can leave from there, all right?
Judge Glanville had some diarrhea. We're back 25 minutes later. Jack Gotti's lawyer, Mr. Weinstein up.
You know Mr. Kendrick is on the YSL label, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Kendrick, because you toured with him, is that right?
Yes.
And you traveled with him, I assume. You went to different places on the tour. And that's how you know Mr. Kendrick, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
All right, Thug's lawyer Brian Steele up for cross.
There was a time that you were very close friends with Jeffrey Williams. Is that true?
Yes.
You were born actually 7 days ahead of Jeffrey Williams in the same month, same year. Is that true?
Yes.
They're a week apart from being born.
There were times that you would sleep at Jeffrey's home on the floor with him, right?
Yes.
It got to the point that you and Jeffrey got so close that if you were both hungry, but you had $1 or $2 or $3, you would actually buy food and split all that food with him. Is that true?
Yes.
Did you observe Jeffrey study the music of Lil Wayne?
We both did.
Okay. And did you observe Jeffrey, and you, study the music of Tupac?
Yes.
Jeffrey wanted to be called Young Thug.
Yes.
He named himself, true?
Yes.
His ability to try to get into the rap industry, is that true? Did Jeffrey choose the name Young Thug for his musical career?
The hate you give, truly humble to God. There's a couple of them.
He's just establishing to the jury that they both loved Lil Wayne. They were very close.
Did you witness that Jeffrey getting in arguments with other rappers on social media?
Yes.
Okay. And is that part of getting out his name and his brand?
Brian Steele's really pushing the whole doing shit for entertainment and all that.
To be around Jeffrey, you had to stop committing crime. Do you remember him telling you that? Did you get the understanding that in order to keep being around Jeffrey, you had to stop committing crime?
Yes.
A good question right there for the jury to hear.
Did Jeffrey ever instruct you, order you, ask you to commit a crime to enhance any criminal street gang?
Oh, wow, that one.
Hearsay? Did you say hearsay?
I'm confused. What I don't know what to do.
The Honorable Court's allowing you to answer the question.
Can you answer it again?
Yeah.
So answer it?
Yeah.
He was mad at me. He didn't want me doing. He didn't even want me on Cleveland Avenue. He didn't want me doing nothing. They gonna get me taken away from my kids or him or nobody. He didn't want me doing none of that.
Did Jeffrey ever ask you or instruct you to commit a crime?
No.
Really good points for Brian Steele right there to get that in front of the jury. Now they're talking about the whole laundromat car flying off the cliff that Thug was allegedly in the back seat. Walter was in the front passenger seat, shot.
Was Jeffrey Williams in that car with you at the time of this event?
No.
Was he involved in that event?
No.
But can the jury really trust this man? I mean, he's been said he'll say anything to avoid jail, and he's trying not to snitch. Like, what was he gonna say yes right now and just straight up snitch right now in court? Like, there's another witness you can't even really trust. Both defense lawyers doing very well today, though, really separating YSL as a gang from these incidents.
You made it clear you never shot a bullet into her wall of her apartment. Is that true?
I never did it.
And is it true that you were never present ever when somebody put a gun to her face while she's holding her baby? Is
No.
that true? That never happened, did it?
No.
So the robbery about Miss Bennett from 2013, which they don't really have any evidence, like hard evidence that these guys were even there besides Miss Bennett snitching. Like, they have no surveillance or anything.
Your knowledge, Jeffrey Williams never did anything like that, right?
No.
Jeffrey wasn't speaking much with you before this tour. Is that true?
He wasn't speaking at all until I had my accident.
Separated himself from you.
Yes,
That's
it's true.
Then when you had your accident, he was bringing well wishes, whatever the right word. He was
Yes.
hoping that you recover.
Yes.
And he allowed you to come on this tour, right?
Yes.
Potentially get a job, YSL record label, right?
Yes.
If you could show that you would work hard, you can be an asset means be a contributor.
Yes.
True?
Yes.
That didn't work out, did it?
No.
You didn't get that job.
No.
And in fact, after that tour, again, Jeffrey wasn't speaking with you. True?
Yes.
Bro blew it. He could have been a YSL employee chilling, doing some sort of, like, even if it's just selling merch on tour for Thug, like, at least you have something, a real job.
Sometime 2013, until your accident, Jeffrey hardly spoke with you. True?
Yes.
After your accident and going on this tour, when you were sent home, Jeffrey hardly spoke with you. True?
Yes.
In fact, the last time and the only time that you really spoke with Jeffrey since being sent home from that tour was on the day that you were arrested on July 15, 2015. True?
Yes.
And Jeffrey was arrested that same day for terroristic threats at the mall. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember seeing him in a Fulton County jail?
Yeah.
Do you remember what he told you?
Yeah. I took it upon myself right then to start doing better.
Now, after that day, have you spoken with Jeffrey Williams at all?
No.
Wow. So they haven't spoken in pretty much 9 years. So Steele's doing a great job separating Thug from DK right now.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, pay for your lawyer?
No.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, put money on your account in jail or prison?
No.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, ever bond you out of jail?
No.
Prosecutor asked you, since you told on Nard, did Jeffrey cut you off? Remember something like that? The truth is Jeffrey Williams was not talking with you before that. True?
That's true.
Damn, you making the prosecutor look like they don't know what the they're talking about. They were been not talking, so it wasn't because he snitched on someone that Thug stopped talking to him.
Do you have any information to supply to this jury that Jeffrey Williams had anything to do with the plan, the encouragement to shoot that bus?
No.
It's one of the big allegations in this case that Thug basically gave them the go-ahead to go shoot up that bus because that was when the beef with Lil Wayne was happening.
You know Jeffrey was in Louisiana performing that day.
I heard it.
Okay. Do you know whether Jeffrey was extremely upset that that bus was fired upon of Lil Wayne?
I can't.
Steele keeps trying to get Thug's emotions and what Thug has said, but he can't do that because Thug's not going up on the stand. So that's why the state keeps objecting.
Jeffrey was mad at you because she was at that club, remember, or something like that. Remember?
Yes.
The truth is, Jeffrey never asked you to protect Dolly, did he?
No.
So the narrative the state was trying to say that DK had to protect Thug's family is not true.
And you're doing everything you can now to work every day to help support lawfully your family, true?
Yes.
Do you know whether Jeffrey has given opportunities to countless people in poverty to get lawful jobs?
Yes.
Would he let people stay at his house if they didn't have a place to live?
Of course.
Did you know whether Jeffrey would allow people to use his cars if they needed a car for transportation?
You let me use it a lot of times.
And did you even have to ask him?
No, I would though. But no, you don't have to.
See, that's a good point for Brian Steele to get across right there about the cars, because the state says a rental car in Thug's name was used to kill someone. So Steele's trying to get the point across that anyone could use these cars that were in and out of the house.
You know whether Jeffrey would rent cars for people who said that they needed a car because they couldn't rent it themselves?
Yeah, he did it before.
Or that point right there, same shit. Is this true? Who knows? But it's good to get this in front of the jury.
Jeffrey wanted a record label because people like Lil Wayne had a record label, right?
Yeah, we all wanted the record label.
Part of a publicly traded company. You know what I mean by that? If you don't, just say.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Do you know it's been bought by another record label? You familiar with that?
A major label, yeah.
A major label.
Yeah.
Right? And there are people who work on that, lawyers, right? Work for the label.
Yeah.
And people who run studios, own studios, and the like, right?
Yes.
There's other people who use YSL, and they may commit crime, right?
Yes.
Some people could say YSL was a gang, and some people could say it's, you know, a record label and there's a professional side to it.
Does the part that includes criminality, YSL, does that have anything to do with Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, Your Honor.
It's not a legal conclusion. He's allegedly a member of a conspiracy.
And boys, here it is. Walter DK snitching on camera.
I'm so high.
So even back then, he's saying he was really high doing all this shit.
Tell me if that's fatty. Right on there, who you recognize that as, and sign it. I'm talking.
Damn, he's signing and everything.
You sex money murder. Would that be consistent with YSL? Is that the same gang?
YSL. You can be crip, you can be whatever.
Okay, explain that to me.
Pee-wee Westall crip. YSL.
Well, I'm not talking about specific people.
That's an interesting statement. He's clearly saying he's blood, and he's not false claiming in this interview, but YSL members could be Crip or blood.
Like, since everything that happened in the street when it happened.
So what you mean by that is that at the time, Bloods were YSL, but since all this beef has been happening with YSL is its own thing.
They cut us off and let us and made everybody like try to attack us when they see us.
Were you also YSL at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. But now YSL is not a Blood. YSL is its own thing.
YSL was always his own thing then. That's why they mad.
Okay.
That's a big statement. He's saying YSL Bennett's own thing.
How long had you been in blood from that date? From April?
2 years. Yeah.
2 years?
I said say 2 years.
2 years?
Fit into this structure. How do you get paid by them? Do you just get free drugs? Do you get a cut of whatever money they get? How do you get paid as a member of YSL?
You don't get paid. You just get how you live, man.
Do you need to?
You gotta get it on your own.
Do you need to pay some taxes? Whatever you get, do you need to share it with the crew?
No, the home. You in prison.
So how did you make your money at that time?
I rob, stealing, whatever I had to do.
So when you steal something, say you steal $1,000, all of that yours, or do you need to give some back to YSL?
It's not bad.
How much do you need to give back?
At least $150.
Okay, so every time you have a lick, you have to pay $150. Who do you pay it to?
Okay, that's not good. You have to give back $150 back to YSL if you hit a lick.
Look out for the homie called the Red Box.
Oh, he's talking about jail strictly though, like Redbox. That's what they're talking about, giving money to people in jail. So bro gave a lot of information about how YSL works and a few, you know, few members' names and shit, sign in shit.
Write their name on there as you know them, and then put your name in there.
What's the first word here?
Bro signing pictures of his boys, identifying them to the feds, bro.
You were high during the proffer, or you were high when this occurred in April 12th of 2015?
Both.
So before you went into court, you were high.
I was high all the time in Rushford, so yeah.
And did a YSL gang member, Nard, tell you, a YSL member, let's ride after handing you a chop?
I wouldn't consider Bentley a gang member though.
In that proffer agreement, when they asked you, was OG Bentley YSL, did you tell them yes?
That's where it get confusing because I would have said yes because I'm speaking on the label.
Did they distinguish for you the difference between the label and the gang?
I don't recall that part. I don't recall them saying.
She is low-key kind of catching him in a lie here.
That's tricky right there. I don't understand what's like how you putting it though. It wasn't. Nothing had to do with YSL about that though. I was speaking on the game. They were just asking about YSL. They didn't.
In the proffer agreement, did you see them when you were talking about this shooting?
Mm-hmm.
Did they ask you at any point, while you're talking about the shooting, about the music group YSL?
No.
Nard and Fatty, all YSL members, get in the truck to go ride.
Yes.
Okay.
Max Schardt back up for recross.
There's a confusion between YSL, the label, and YSL, a alleged gang, correct?
Yes, and it's tricky because us and the police think it's a gang, but you're really trying to rap, and then you get caught up in something.
Let's talk about Mr. OG Bentley.
Okay.
The bottom line is he was an actual employee of YSL record label, correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
He was Jeffrey Williams' road manager, correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
And prior to this incident, he was in fact fired by Jeffrey Williams for stealing money.
To my knowledge.
This indictment brought by the district attorney's office. Is OG Bentley, to your knowledge, charged?
No.
And while we're talking about people that are not charged in this indictment, you testified that one of the co-founders of YSL is Mondo, correct?
He was there.
For Mondo Crenshaw?
Yes.
Is he charged in this indictment?
No.
You get money how you get it, correct? You got to get your own.
Yes.
And you told the person questioning you that you get it through robbing and stealing.
Yes.
Were you robbing and stealing back then?
Yes.
Okay. The truth is, there's no set percentage, correct?
No.
Do you know what percentage 150 is to 1,000?
Ask that again?
Was there a set percentage?
No.
Okay. Were there set expectations?
No.
Do you remember hearing something about a red box?
Yes.
Where is this red box?
See, that's where it's get confusing again because that's blood terminology. That ain't had nothing to
Right.
do with. Yeah.
Correct. That red box that you brought up in that interview when you were trying to go home, that red box didn't have anything to do with YSL, did it?
That was blood terminology.
That was blood terminology. That was terminology you knew from being a blood in the past, correct?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And you brought up the red box because you thought bringing that up at that time would help get you out of this jam, correct? I'm asking him. The red box has nothing to do with YSL, does it?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Max Schardt snapped. Okay. Separating the whole paying YSL. Brian Steele back up for recross here.
And did any of those people in 2022 beat you?
No.
Did any of them threaten you
No.
about whether you know that Rich Homie Quan and Jeffrey Williams played together in Tampa, Florida? Did you hear you say that Nut, or maybe Big Nut, that's Donovan Thomas, that's how I would know that person.
No, yeah.
Says that Jeffrey's not a real blood or a thug's not a real blood. Did you hear that?
Yes.
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
That's a big point to get in front of the jury, that a person Thug allegedly had beef with didn't even consider him a real blood.
Thank you for your patience with us. I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. That means you're free to go about your usual duties and avocation. You go to work.
Boy, I can't wait.
Bro said, boy, I can't wait. All right, that's it for day 60. I feel like the defense did better with that witness than the state overall. Like, they really separated YSL and Thug and him and all his charges and everything. And the indictment doesn't even have a lot of these incidents in it. Like, it's just so weird how they're allowed to do that. Comment down below what you guys think. Hit subscribe, join the channel membership. Love you guys. Peace out.